All right. Welcome back to another Shoe Snob podcast. It's been a while since I've done a video. Truthfully, I don't even know why. Just been a lot going on. I was traveling, got a bit sick with the flu, took some time off, just been doing a million things. And when the shop has, normally this table's full of shoes that I'm shining and packing and shipping and doing all that stuff. So when the table is inundated with pairs, it often puts me off doing videos because I gotta basically take them all off and then put them all back on. But there's a lot been going on that I wanted to share, and I felt it was time for a new video. So I've been thinking a lot about, I haven't been doing podcasts because I realized, as I watch other podcasts, they tend to, have a subject, but then talk about other things going on. So it's not just one subject focus. I guess if the subject is very important, you can spend a whole 40, 20, whatever minutes talking about it. But I feel like there's so much going on in the industry as well that I kind of want to share that. And in this new age of algorithms, like, if you do more than one Instagram post a day, you're going to get hit by their bad algorithm because they see you as spam. Facebook's a little bit less so, kind of depends. The blog, I can only do one post a day at a time. If I do more, it's overkill. I don't even do one post a day. So I thought maybe I can start using the video as a medium to talk about multiple things going on. Updates in the industry that I've heard, things that I hear, things that I see, important aspects of everything. So I wanted to give that a go and have this be more news of today in the shoe industry. So I recently came back from a trip to my factory. At the same time, I went to Spain to start a EU company, a second arm of my US company, so that I can start supplying shoes directly from Europe to Europeans, so that it's not that the shoes manufactured in Spain, shipped to New York, then just to go back to Europe. Europeans get hit with these ridiculous import duties and fees, which are becoming astronomically expensive and to the point of full-blown corruption. And so I've been working on that, but it's a lot easier said than done. So anyway, during my time in Europe, I heard a lot of interesting news. Not everything good for the future of the shoe industry, unfortunately. I don't want to say bad times are ahead, but there's been a lot of changes in the way the shoe industry works, and it's causing a lot of issues that I think are soon going to explode. So let's talk about that first, because that really is most important. Basically, since COVID and the supply chain crisis of winter 2021 due to what they said was the Omicron variant, the supply industry not only have costs just exploded in terms of energy, which is everything for a factory. It's, you can imagine the lights, the machines. It's a big hit when your bill goes up however many fold, you feel it. And those are then passed to the clients of said factory. So imagine the tannery has new bills, new energy bills. That means the leather goes up in price. Now, if the leather goes up in price, that means the shoemaker has to raise the price of the shoes that they're making because they're buying more expensive leather now. That then means that the client of the shoe factory now has a higher price for his cost price, which ends up meaning that unless they're running a 7 or 8 times margin, they probably need to raise their prices. So we've been seeing a lot of price hikes in the industry, and I promise you, they're only getting started. My own brand was recently hit with a 12% price hike from the factory due to prices of leather. I've seen leather prices jump 40% in the last 2 years, 3 years maybe. 40% is huge. 40, I might be lying. Yeah, 40, 45, 50, about that. I won't name the tannery, but there was once a very famous tannery that sold leather at, I want to say 90 euros per square meter, and now they're at 130, 135 euros per square meter. So that's exactly like a 50% raise. That's a huge amount, and that translates to a much more expensive shoe. And you gotta understand, that's just one factor of the whole shoe. You know, you got rising labor, rising leather. So rising labor also means, you know, the better you want to make your shoes, the more labor put in, the higher the cost. The leather, that's going up regularly. Not to mention, and this is probably the scariest thing, is, for those of you who understand business, you'll get this. For those of you who don't own a business, this may not be as apparently scary to you, but a lot of the world in business is run on lines of credit. You know, most of us don't just have hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars of cash sitting in our bank accounts. So you place an order for something, and then you get a 60 or 90-day line of credit to pay for that something. And usually if your sell-through is good, you're able to accomplish that. And so a lot of tanneries gave lines of credit because they have years of history with factories buying the leather and paying. But due to the crisis in supply chain, nobody wants to hold a stock now because many people were stuck for a year without being able to move product. That sounds like, you know, something easily swallowed, but it's not when your product is millions of quantities of something or hundreds of thousands of quantities of something. That's a lot of money sitting there unmoved for a year. That really affects a business. It also puts a lot of fear into the minds of the owners. They don't ever want to experience that again. So whereas tanneries may have held large amounts of stock leathers, they're now not. And now it's when you place the order, they make the order. But instead of giving you the line of credit, you now have to pay in advance. That is a complete 180 system. So if your cash flow was built to be always having that 90-day line of credit, and now all of a sudden you have to pay up front, it's a huge blow to the way you run your business. And this is what is causing a lot of late shoes around the industry, my brand included. I ordered shoes in September, production supposedly 4 or 5 months. I'm still waiting on the shoes. We're now what, April? That's end of September, October, November, December, January, February, March, 6 months. And some of the leather still hasn't even arrived to even start making the shoes. That's on a very popular leather that I have on maybe, let's just see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of my models, and some of those models are my top sellers. So you can imagine that it's put a big hamper in the way people do business, and it's not going to get better. It's not going to get better anytime soon. That fear doesn't leave for a long time. So I just want to tell you, give leniency to shoemakers, because a lot of them don't have the power right now. It's the tanneries that hold the power. And that's another story we're about to get into as well. The tanneries are holding the power. Cash flow system has been heavily disrupted through the issues that occurred over the last 2 years. And now basically the whole system is having to restructure itself as a new way of doing business with upfront payments. it's a lot when your upfront payment is hundreds of thousands of euros, dollars, whatever. So yeah, supply chain crisis isn't getting better, unfortunately. Prices will go up with every shoemaker, you know, it's inevitable. There's literally been, my brand alone, and I haven't even done the latest price hike, I've swallowed that 12% without raising my prices. But in the last 2 years, prices have basically gone up 20%. It's a lot. It's a lot. So I know shoemakers will want to hold on to their low prices because raising your prices is scary. You will lose clients and they will go to the shoemaker below selling at a lower price. So enjoy the prices that you have right now while you can, because I promise you by the end of this year they'll all be going up by probably every single shoemaker that hasn't done so in 2023 already. One piece of news. Another piece of news that is very interesting that I just recently heard, it's still on the hush hush, but it's coming to fruition. Annonay, owned by Hermes, has recently announced cutting off the supply to their larger shoe welted, Goodyear welted shoe brands, i.e. the Carminas, the Crockett's, the other big brands that use Tanneries and Annonay. Now, personally, I've stopped working with French Tanneries long ago. I use some of their skins in made to orders because they do have some unique box calf colors. But as supplying the majority of my production, I stopped that years ago. So it's not really affecting me, but Annonay is such a big name. Annonay, for those of you who may not know, is owned by Hermes. That supplies John Lobb as well, Hermes naturally, and any other brand under that big umbrella, which they probably own many others I don't even think about. They also own Dupuis. So be interesting to see what they do with Dupuis. But yeah, it's been said that Annonay is going to, now some of this is just hearsay. I have heard confirmation that brands will be cut off. I don't know why, or is Hermes growing so big they're only going to supply to their brands underneath? But the fact of the matter is you'll probably see less and less Annonay on offer in the shoe industry, in our side of the shoe industry, in the welted side of the shoe industry, except for John Lobb, as they are owned by the same parent group. I don't know if that's simply because Hermes is producing less or what, but again, a lot of tough things are happening in the shoe industry, and I expect this just to be one of the first dominoes to fall. Personally, if I were all of you, we love to go and talk about Weinheim, Annonay, Dupuis, and rave on Tanneries with name brands like we do buying a Gucci belt or whatever. But in reality, there's lots of smaller tanneries, less known, that make fabulous leather. So I would stop being stuck on famous tannery names and start being open to leather that comes from other parts of the world. It's not just France and Italy who make great leather. I'll share you a little secret right now. A lot of those tanneries actually get the hides from Serbian manufacturers who are actually the ones supplying the hides, i.e. they're the farmers with the cows, and they create the hides and then supply the raw hides to the tanneries, who then tan the leather and put the color on. And so these Serbian companies were smart in saying, hey, we're just the producers given to the guys who are making all the money selling hundreds of thousands of this or that at a nice little upcharge. Why don't we start becoming a tannery too? So the original supplier to many of the tanneries of the world are soon going to start becoming tanneries themselves, and they'll be coming from countries you probably don't expect, because just because the famous tannery comes in out of France doesn't mean that's where the actual cows are. Doesn't mean that's where the leather's actually being created. So I would expect to open your mind on where leather can come from and be good. Again, this also plays in shoemaking. Forever we were stuck on only European shoes are good shoes. Nah, forget that. Shoes can be good from any part of the world. Leather can be good from any part of the world. Anything can be good from any part of the world. It's just a matter of who wants to produce good product. So expect leather to change, and fast. That's the doom and gloom news. Let's get to something a little bit different. In case you haven't noticed, TLB has been doing a lot of changes in their brand. They recently introduced a new last, a very Americana style last. I think this is a play at, you know, the whole Alden, Allen Edmonds core clients with a very round, robust last. And you see it, of course, on a long wing brogue and some other things. I'm already forgetting the name of the last, but you can't miss it because it is now their most boldest last. So if that's your kind of style, definitely give it a check. I believe they also have a ton of new loafers coming soon. I've been harping on them for this. Their site was so Oxford heavy and boot heavy. They had few loafer selection. I think they heard that advice. I'm sure I wasn't the only one suggesting it, and they now have a ton of loafers coming this season, so do stay tuned. Some other news, in case you haven't saw on my marketing or the marketing by Shoegazing, the London Super Trunk Show is coming soon. That is May 13th in London at Showcase venue, which is on South Regent Street. Make sure you come stop by. We're gonna have a plethora of cool brands as always, with the bespoke shoemaking contest on display, patina world championship and shoe shine and patina on display. As always, it's a great event, very fun. Lots of things to see, lots of people to meet. If you are in or around London on May 13th, make sure you do come stop by and give us a shout. Some other interesting things on in the news. I'm an anchor man now. It's the news of the shoe industry. For those of you maybe many of you have not heard of it, but Ichigoichi Shoemaker, aka Litrang, who started off as, long story short, a guy, I believe he was in finance, decides finance not his passion, turns to shoemaking, goes to Japan, studies shoemaking, does bespoke shoemaking. I can't forget where he's originally from, but he's now based in Vietnam and launching his own ready-to-wear line. That's exciting. Always good to see new ready-to-wear brands on the scene. I hope some of his bespoke samples have been very unique and cool with ideas that are original, and I love that. I only pray he translate that to his ready-to-wear line, because we don't need just another ready-to-wear line doing black brogues and copies of Crockett like so many love to do. So interesting, stay tuned for that. Stefano Bemmer, and I'm going to make a post on this because this is pretty big news, is making a lot of power plays in the shoe industry. They've recently bought 2 clothing brands. This may be forward of me to start saying, but I dare say they're soon going to have a new shop in New York City. So stay tuned for that. They're making a lot of big things going on. And very interesting stuff, which I think is pretty cool. A lot of you will appreciate it. I can't say too much right now, but definitely stay on the lookout of what Stefano Bemmer is doing. And I believe they just launched a new website yesterday. I haven't officially checked to make sure it actually launched. I just launched my own new website, and I know these things don't always go as planned. That's the final bit of news that I have for you. I revamped my Shoe Snob blog. I realized that I have so much information I've written over the last 13 years. I have like 2,600 posts, and there's so few things I can still write about today because I've literally written about everything. And so what I've realized is I need to make a site that's better to easily access the archives. So I'm working hard on that. I got a new design I think it's a lot cleaner and more succinct and straight to the point, where you can easily find older archived posts. A lot of these older posts I did without caring about quality of imagery. Now that I care about quality of imagery, I want to go through, edit the posts, add new images, rewrite them, because I also didn't care about spell check back then. And I really want to make a concise blog that is basically like an encyclopedia of shoes, which it is already. It's just hard to find all the stuff. So definitely check out my new site. I hope you guys all enjoy it. Lots of invigorating things happening in the shoe industry. Some with challenge, but some, you know, I think with challenge makes us work harder. So I look forward to the adverse times, because I think it makes us want to push ourselves, and when we push ourselves, we tend to do great things. So let's hope everybody else sees it like that and is able to power through. And yeah, hope you've enjoyed this news post podcast, and I'll try to do more of these, because I think I always have a lot to say, and then I never end up saying anything, because I think I can't just dedicate 20 minutes to one subject. So I want to talk about, you know, 5 subjects at 4 minutes each. So anyway, thanks as always for tuning in. I appreciate the support. Make sure to share. Definitely check out my new site and subscribe if you're not already. Thanks again. Talk soon. Bye.